Good afternoon. Wow. All right. Good afternoon. I am truly honored as the Dean of Harvard Medical School to be here for this wonderful celebration of our master's students' accomplishments. Today we are recognizing 303 graduates from 10 different master's programs here at Harvard Medical School. Now let's hear it for our graduates. How about our graduates in bioethics? Woo! All right. They're the largest, so they're the loudest, but let's see if we can challenge that. How about biomedical informatics? Clinical investigation? Clinical research? Clinical service operations. Whoa! Wow! Okay. All right. Global health delivery. Healthcare quality and safety. Immunology. Media, medicine, and health. And last, but not least, medical education. All right, well listen, all of you have contributed in substantial ways to the Harvard Medical School community, and I hope that you feel that you have made the most of your time here. Indeed, your achievements are extensive and impressive. Soon you will funnel your newfound expertise into becoming innovators within your professional domains. Now, in fact, earning your master's degree is a powerful way to advance your innovative capabilities. All of you arrived here at Harvard Medical School with a more or less specific goal in mind, an intention to dive deeper into a certain domain of biomedicine, to become more nimble, more knowledgeable, more creative. And even if you don't consider yourself as an innovator per se, by virtue of receiving this master's degree, earning this master's degree, you are innovators in your own careers. Now, I'm going to just tell a story about an innovator who received a Master of Public Health degree from our neighbor, the Harvard Chan School. That was Bill Foege. He was epidemiologist, public health legend, former CDC director. Now, some of you may know that Bill sadly passed away in January at age 89. If you don't know Bill's name, you're not alone, but you should. Despite having an immense impact on history, enough to earn Bill the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012, Bill isn't a household name. I'm sure everyone knows Anthony Fauci, Francis Collins, Atul Gawande. Those are just a few. Bill should be a household name. But likely due to Bill's extremely humble nature, he is not, and we'll get into that. Now, in the 1960s, Bill and his colleagues who were working in rural Nigeria were struggling to control smallpox outbreaks. Given their limited supplies of vaccines, they had to get creative. Now, instead of aiming for mass vaccination, they decided to focus their efforts on rapidly identifying smallpox cases and then surrounding them with rings of immunization. This ring vaccination strategy eventually became the basis of the World Health Organization's global smallpox eradication campaign. According to Bill, the world's last known smallpox case was that of a cook in Somalia in 1978. 2 years later, WHO declared smallpox officially eliminated. And today, we live in the unspoken, underappreciated reality that smallpox is a thing of the past. For Bill, yes, that was worthy of applause. So let's just think about it. For Bill and his team, there was a limitation, a lack of vaccines, which forced an innovation, and an innovation that opened the door to enormous possibility. From there, possibility morphed into a plan to finish the job. Bill was once quoted as saying that smallpox eradication was no accident, but the result of a plan conceived and implemented on purpose by people. Limitation, innovation, possibility, plan. This series of events is a recipe for and a predictor of success in biomedicine. Now, in fact, many new chapters in health and medicine have started with some kind of limitation, whether it's lack of resources, time constraints, not enough money, not enough data, one too many puzzles to solve. The limitation makes imitation necessary, and the possibility makes hatching a plan inevitable. As long as someone is brave enough, and I would say humble enough to take it on. Now, as I mentioned, Bill was not as lucky as all of you to receive his master's from Harvard Medical School. So allow me to share some similarly illustrative examples of those who did. Take Jennifer Wargo, who earned her Master of Medical Sciences degree from HMS in 2012. Jennifer, whose parents both died of cancer, developed an interest in the tumor microbiome due to a flawed experiment in the laboratory. The cancer cells she was using in experiments had become contaminated with mycoplasma. But rather than just throw out the cells and start with another vial, she and her colleagues noticed that the mycoplasma had broken down the chemotherapy drugs that they were testing into an inactive form. The infection had conferred resistance to the treatment. Now, that flawed cell culture prompted a fascinating new question. What if the microbiome itself has an effect on the success of cancer therapy? And sure enough, in 2017, Jennifer and her colleagues at the MD Anderson Cancer Center had their answer. They published landmark research showing that melanoma patients who have a greater diversity of bacteria in their gut microbiome responded better to an anti-PD-1 checkpoint inhibitor compared to those with less diversity of bacteria. So here again, a limitation had prompted an innovative question which led to a possibility, the idea that cancer therapies could actually target the tumor microbiome. And that possibility brought about a plan to reinvent Jennifer's lab so as to enable the collection and cataloging of fecal samples, as well as to set up a whole new infrastructure to conduct studies on the microbiome. Limitation, innovation, possibility, plan. Now, besides Jennifer's story, there are myriad examples of physicians, scientists, and healthcare leaders working under significant limitations. There's Akwe Asomban, who attained her Master of Science in Bioethics at HMS and co-founded the Pan-African Organization for Health, Education, and Research. As a director of global health and gastroenterology at MGH, she is focusing on developing educational tools and practices for colorectal cancer screening and gastrointestinal care in resource-limited settings in Africa. And there's Augustina Sayens, whose master's research in biomedical informatics was motivated by the limited amount of globally representative imaging data that's available to train AI models. She helped launch an international collaboration to collect medical imaging data from hospitals around the world in order to build a more diverse data set for the development of AI models. HMS Master's graduates, we are all living in a time of substantial resource constraints. Science and academia at large are being threatened with catastrophic funding cuts. Essential life-saving research is being canceled altogether. And public health practices have been riddled with misinformation and confusion. And of course, Harvard, the very institution from which you are graduating today, has been one of the most direct targets of the current administration's tectonic shifts in priorities. So we all have limitations, that's for sure. But no limitation can quell bravery and humility, both of which are necessary ingredients for change. Limitations are quantifiable. Bravery and humility are not. So I mentioned that I would get back to Bill Foege's sense of humility. In the foreword to Bill's book, House on Fire, David Spencer, who was another public health legend of his own, he wrote that Bill told stories not about what he has done, but about what others have done. Dr. Spencer called this trait of Bill's ego suppression. It's a good trait. For instance, as India was getting closer to its goal of eliminating smallpox, Bill Foege left the country to return to the US when Dr. Spencer, Bill's boss at the time, asked him to stay to be part of the festivities to commemorate this momentous achievement. Bill told Dr. Spencer, no, that if he stayed, it would draw too much attention to the external support that India received. And the reality was, Bill said, it was the thousands of people in India who did the work. Limitations, innovations, possibility, plan. Graduates, I would like to add a fifth step. Because after limitation and innovation and possibility of plan, there's storytelling. But specifically storytelling about others, earnestly and repeatedly crediting other people's accomplishments, especially those in the communities you serve. This can be the difference between short-lived change and truly epic transformation. Now, you can tell some stories about yourself. You've earned that privilege. But I'll leave you with a line from a commencement speech that Bill Foege delivered at Emory University in 2016. The speech was entitled, "Every Day We Edit Our Obituaries." Bill advised the students, it's not until you get to be my age that you know how good a life has been. But consciously, daily, edit your obituary. Edit it so you realize the good life sooner. Edit with care and gusto. So in times of limitations, we need you all to exhibit the bravery and the humility that it takes to radically change the world. Master's degrees are wonderful vehicles for making this happen, and we look forward to witnessing all that you will accomplish.